I'm just an average Jen, chilling all alone, listening to my podcast that I'm going to share with y'all. That probably sucked. Hey, this is Average Jen here. Today, I'm learning the new technology. Well, not really new technology, I'm learning the technology. And I wanted to share with all of you my podcast, which is on Spotify. I was sitting here thinking, now, how am I going to do this? And then it dawned on me. What we're going to do is we're going to listen to it together. I'm going to share my screen here. So let me do that. And I'm going to push play. And I'm just going to listen while you all listen. And I may or may not comment. I don't know. I might just sit here and listen. So let's enjoy it together. All right. What do I need? Share. Okay. Here we are. And share. Ta-da! All right. I'm going to hit this before, and I wasn't where I thought it was going to be. Okay. So, da-da-da-da. Are we there now? Okay. Are we going to play the right? Oh, yep. We're going to play the right episode. All right. Here we go. I like this intro music. It's like happy, upbeat. Hi there, and welcome to I'm Only Human, a podcast that attempts to explain how to coexist with other humans. This podcast is going to dive into topics like: is it possible to overcome human nature? Are rules and laws necessary for taming bad behaviors? Or are they simply a control mechanism crafted by other disturbed minds? Why do we fight with each other? How does traditional religion impact us? Can social disease be healed through individual recovery? My name is Jen, and I'm an average human. Before I begin, I would like to state that I will be talking about controversial things such as, but not limited to, religion, God, the Bible, 12-step programs, and politics. I am not an expert, and I don't claim to be one. I will, however, be referencing Alcoholics Anonymous because it is the granddaddy of all other 12-step programs. I will also be quoting things from the Bible and mentioning God along with different religions. I'm not trying to promote a particular program, nor am I trying to convert anyone. I believe religion gives us a foundation, and 12-step recovery guides people down a path to self-actualization. Social disease has been with us since the dawn of time, but recovery has still been achieved by millions of people. Through recovery, healing is possible. I believe that changed minds and attitudes can change our world. Hey people, this is my very first episode and I am so nervous. I don't know how many times I've recorded and re-recorded what I've typed out to try to make it sound natural. I'll do my best. Are you with me? Okay, happy thoughts. Here we go. I am indeed a real human, an average person, just a nobody with a bunch of odd thoughts. I've existed on this planet for 48 years, and I fear I'm not a spring chicken anymore. A year and a half ago, I learned how to appreciate life. I'm still new to recovery. My rambling may get a little long at times. I celebrated my first birthday in April of this year, 2023. I am generally content with my current life, even when things don't go the way I think they should go. I have done a lot of growing up since I came into recovery, but I have a long road ahead of me. Through my experience, I would like to pull back the curtain to expose the core reasons why people do what they do. My own story doesn't deserve an award. I made a lot of bad choices. I hurt a lot of people throughout my life. I hope that sharing my experience will touch at least one human life. A person doesn't need to have a chemical addiction to need recovery. I grew up learning about God and the Bible from my Lutheran religion. I did my church and Sunday school time as a kid, catechism as a teen, and then walked away when I was no longer forced to go. I didn't turn my back on it, but I didn't want to be told what to believe and how I had to show my devotion. I knew about God and thought about Him occasionally. Sunday school had provided me with a moral compass, which is nothing more than basic human etiquette. I didn't have a connection to God. He was just a fairy tale in a book. I thought people that claimed to have had a connection were lying because I saw how members of a congregation behave. They dress nicely for church, their families put on a good show for the public while inside those church walls, but go to the grocery store 20 minutes after church gets out sometime. I used to work in a grocery store, and I noticed that some of the rudest people to descend on the grocery store were the people that just came from church. The point being that going to church and having faith in God 1 hour a week doesn't make you a decent person or a devoted Christian. Living a decent life, even outside the church walls, is how you show your devotion. But it could be that all these people were just hungry after being in church, and that's why they're so cranky. 12 steps are teaching me how to create that connection to other humans, myself, and the God of my understanding. It's not a secret, but not again, common sense does not exist. I took aspects or qualities that I liked and felt comfortable with and created someone I can relate to. Sort of like a child creating an imaginary friend. My God loves me regardless of how lost I might get sometimes, and I have been in some very dark places. He is gentle. He is strange and silly. He's my calm when things are crazy around me, the eye in the storm, as some say. I finally have a friend to talk to instead of a God I must worship. Just to be clear, when I talk about God, I am referring to two, possibly three different people: the God of my understanding versus Bible God or religious God. And then there's the God of your understanding. They all have different meanings for different people. It is easy to say God, but we must keep in mind that name or word means something different to each person. In the end, we end up with a unique relationship with a power that is greater than ourselves, and it leads us to God of the universe. The goal of 12-step recovery is to create some connection that works for you. I guess it could be considered tapping into the power of the universe. It is something that must be experienced to believe. Sorry, I got cats scratching at my door. I hope you don't all hear that. My theory, and what I have come to understand through recovery, is that there is a difference between religious God and the God of my understanding. I believe that most people shut down at the mention of God or religion, and here I am talking about both. I have been binge listening to a variety of podcasts. These podcasts have been a big part in my recovery, and they help me gain the courage to share my perspective. My commute and job type allow me plenty of time to binge on episodes. They are my TV replacement, and it works out pretty nice. I am surrounded by my recovery world along with views from different types of people on different subjects. Here is an unprompted shout out to the Recovery Show.
Woohoo!
Love you guys. Spencer, you're awesome. Sober Speak, Recovered, Fragmented to Whole. I bring these up because listening to these podcasts can explain things on a deeper level than I can. I'm not trying to recreate their podcasts. I want to look at different aspects of the world. I added the podcast maintenance phase in our own world, part of the problem, and if books could kill, in order to expand my mind. I refuse to watch the news because I'm tired of people pushing their agenda on the rest of the world. These podcasts explore some of those issues. They can explain their shows better than I can. But this is where I got a lot of my inspiration. I love your shows. You guys are funny and scary accurate about things. Anyway, through traditional religion, we are taught what to believe and how to uphold the rituals that follow a particular faith. We either have a loving God or a punishing God, depending on the religion and how perfectly we follow those guidelines. I was taught by my church that my religion was correct and that everyone else does it wrong. I'm not supposed to worship alongside those of a different faith than mine. I understand and I do agree with that statement. Traditional religion needs to stay within their own groups. I don't think it's a crime to get spiritual healing outside of my religion, but I think others would disagree with that. I don't believe everything that I'm taught. I've been opposed to or at least questioned everything I was taught, even from a young age. Here are my thoughts. Humans worship in different ways, but that doesn't make one thing wrong and another thing right. The Bible gives specific instructions on how to worship, and yet there are still several ways that different religions express their devotion to the God of their understanding. Humans took the aspects of the Bible that they liked and created a religion based off that one book. The God of the Bible is very black and white with his thinking. God himself states that he is a jealous God. He says that we shall have no other gods besides him. The punishment for worshiping false gods was death. That right there gives twisted individuals the idea that it's okay to kill and treat other people like animals. I challenge you to think outside your programming. Think of people for a moment. What flashed through your mind? Did you think about a specific person or a group of people? How did you feel when that thought flashed through your mind? I'm going to be blunt here. I forget that humans are more than just a body. Honestly, that is how I see most of the world. You're an object that is in my way. If we know each other, I may think about you occasionally. If we have a relationship, I might think about you more than someone that is just an acquaintance. But if I don't know you at all, you're just a thing that's in my way. When you feel angry towards another person, do you know why you feel that way? Would it be logical to rid the world of humans that believe the color blue is hideous? Would there be a crusade to kill all individuals with blue eyes? How about killing another person for wearing a blue garment? What if only one person of a family loved that color, but the rest did not? Is it reasonable to kill the whole family? To be honest, it is the very reason we fight. Our only crime being that we do not think and worship exactly as another person or group of people. It doesn't make what they are doing wrong and what you are doing right. No worries, though, more will be revealed. Mankind worships God in different ways, and not everyone enjoys looking at the color blue. Can we stop killing each other because the absurdity is just that simple? The only difference between mass killings are the nouns, adjectives, or verbs associated with whatever the crusade is to promote a different meaning. The feeling behind anything this violent is usually fear. God was afraid he wouldn't be worshipped, so he thought it was a good idea to kill anyone that opposed his views. At least the God of the Old Testament did that. Eventually, Bible God had some compassion. By the way, I love looking up the definitions of words. I think it provides some unofficial clarity. Well, sometimes. So down the rabbit hole we go. What will be revealed? The dictionary defines worship as the feeling or expression of reverence and adoration for a deity. Religion dictates that we must worship God. I wonder if phrasing things a little differently might put a new perspective on it. After all, isn't that what politicians and lawyers do? Corrupt is a word for a different time. What if humans simply love God instead of worship Him? What if we cherish Him? What if we treasure God rather than you must worship? Worship to me sounds very commanding, very final. This is why I dislike it. I'm looking at a page of synonyms for the word, and you guessed it, another little detour. A synonym, for those who don't know, is a word or phrase that means exactly or nearly the same as another word or phrase in the same language. The example the dictionary uses is that shut is a synonym of close. Back to the word worship and the synonyms associated with that word. Reverence, revering, worshiping, veneration, venerating, adoration, adoring, devotion, praise, thanksgiving, praising, glorification, glorifying, glory, exaltation, exalting, excitement, extolling, homage, respect, honor, honoring, esteem, magnification, and praying to. Adoration means deep love and respect. There is nothing qualifying about adoration. I find that to be a feel good phrase. If that was the only meaning of worship, I would not bristle. Reverence is the other part of that definition, and there is nothing wrong with it until the definition adds the words or something, meaning to have deep respect for someone or something. This something is a thing that is unspecified or unknown. I'll tie it all together in a bit. I want to love the God of my understanding instead of worship him. The synonyms for love are fondness, tenderness, warmth, intimacy, attachment, endearment, devotion, adoration, doting, friendliness, friendship, kindness, charity, goodwill, unselfishness. I think these words have a different feel than what the synonyms of worshiping portrays. Love feels more like a choice instead of a command. I came to realize that it is possible to come. Okay, I'm going to pause here just for a moment. Yes, I know there's no commandment that says you must worship. And I do feel a little differently in hearing what I said. I feel a little weird about it, but it's okay. I'm okay. It's all right for me to change my views. And I did another episode talking about that a little bit more too. All right, let's go back to this. To love people that I may not necessarily care for today. Why can't we, as humans with free will, focus on loving God? Maybe we could learn to love people too. Moving along to the word respect. Respect is defined as a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elected by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. I think of respect in a negative way. I feel that too many people demand or ask for it when they don't deserve it. Abilities and achievements can be obtained through unethical means, and that is why I associate the word respect with negative feelings. Bullies demand to be respected. A person who is paralyzed with fear will not stand up for themselves, and a bully gains power from another person's fear. Parents that bully their kids do not deserve respect from their children. We were given free will for a reason. We don't have to think like everyone else. We must still be decent to each other, though. Live and let live. Remember, other humans have their own thoughts and feelings too, just as you do, just as I do, just as God does. So, these people that I've been thinking of as just objects that are in my way all the time, I have to remember they're other humans and they have their own thoughts, feelings, and they have people that care about them. I'm not the only person in the world. Anyway, back to this. Earned respect is something on a whole new level. I would prefer that others respect me because they want to, rather than I demand it. This is how resentments begin, and those buggers are a downfall to all addictions and bad behaviors, followed by regret and back to resentment. The opposite or antonym of respect is contempt. which is feeling that a person or a thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn. Humans, which demand respect, might treat people that are not of their level with scorn, disdain, disrespect, mockery, disgust, loathing, and hatred. When someone expresses themselves with free will going against the collective agenda, they have been labeled as heretics, witches, traitors, and conspiracy zealots, depending on the century we grew up in. Evil does not like good things, and it found out a long time ago that humans are easy to manipulate. Like a parasite, it survives in the human mind, waiting for a chance to strike. Evil spreads quickly, like some ink that overtakes a glass of clean water. It only takes a drop or two for contamination to spread. It takes longer to remove the impurities from that tainted water. Social media, the news, and humans in general can't resist polluting minds in the same way. That is why there is so much negative news. Good things don't provide ratings. Good things are boring to hear about. We want action, we want murder, we want carjackings, we want inhumane behaviors and disasters of all kinds. Ratings means money, and money is God above all today. I am not rich and famous, but I think it may be way harder to impress your peers at that status. I haven't listened to much of the podcast in our own world, but it got me thinking that living the life of a celebrity is not as great as those of us that struggle might think it is. At least the whole world isn't watching people like me go through normal human things. Celebrities have feelings too, and when they mess up, they are attacked through social media. The podcast maintenance phase talks about how Oprah and her weight battle has been broadcast for the world to see. Did anyone ever stop to consider Oprah's feelings on the issue? Regardless of any social status, we all fight the same battles, but a nobody such as myself has little or more or has way more privacy while doing it. Recovering or recovered people don't seek fame or fortune, and they are no longer concerned with concealing their true selves. We have all hit bottom in our own way and bounced back from it. Material things are not as important as they once were. These former wicked and wretched souls have found healing. They are now free. Recovered people have a new mission, and that is to help those that are still struggling. We want to share the message with those that don't know that they are worthy of being loved and healed. I know that I can hear this message when I listen to music. These artists are singing about their own recovery processes. By the way, I really dig a whole lot of the most recent songs. Music is more than words and a catchy beat. There are deep messages and stories being told. Music speaks to our souls. Now that I have a little time in, I feel connected to people I've never even met because we are all trying to operate on a spiritual level instead of a human level. Recovery means learning how to fight our demons, how to look them straight in the eye and not cower in fear. We learn how to clean the wreckage of our past, and we are finding a new life. If we don't share our experience, strength, and hope, we risk being a jerk forever, doomed to repeat the same pattern over and over. The only way to solve any problem is to admit there is a problem in the first place. Removal of the substance doesn't heal the person. They are still the same angry, lost, scared, depressed person they've always been. We use our God given skills to help those around us instead of exploiting or trying to rule over them. This is what it means to pay it forward. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about prayer. How does praying fit into all of this? Because it means to address a solemn request or expression of thanks to a deity or other object of worship. It is not a sin to pray for the well being of another human being. To pray means to ask for something in a formal and dignified way. So, my question is, if there is no God, who or what are we praying to? What is the point of prayer if a power greater than us does not exist? God, or whatever you choose to call it, is not a genie that makes dreams come true, as far as I know. He would like us to believe in Him in times of harvest as well as times of famine. meaning don't wait till life is bad before remembering God is there. How long do you think your friendships would last if you only call your buddy when you need a favor? It's nice to stay in touch even when things are going well. That is how a relationship works. Circling back, I mentioned definitions because of how respect was defined. Respect is based on a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something, elected by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. I think what I'm trying to get at is that people only respect other people who can do something to directly benefit them in some way. My employer pays me wages for my skills at my job. Therefore, it is in my best interest to respect my employer. I may not agree with the way the company is run, but I must respect it because I need my job. I don't need to understand why my employer does things in a certain way. I just need to show up and do my part as long as there is no moral or ethical dilemma to complicate things. In other words, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Come on, people. All right, now back to the word worship again, meaning to show reverence and adoration for a deity or to honor with religious rites. It seems sort of funny to me that an object can be worshipped. I think it seems rather silly to pray to a paperclip to heal a loved one or bring them home safe. When I phrase it like that, it sounds ridiculous. A paperclip is a man made object, it has no power. Just as a statue, a garment, money, a seal, a symbol, a flag, a sports jersey, a signature, or any other things made by humans. The reason humans idolize these things is because of the perceived power it gives them. To idolize means to admire, revere, love greatly or excessively. So, what happens when worldly things are idolized? Humans fight over them. It's like shooting someone in the face because they took away your paperclip. And how stupid does that sound? What do humans really need? I mean, to survive. If you think about it, what do they need? That sounds like a good place to leave off for today. In closing, I would like to say that the opinions expressed here were strictly of my own making or by my future guests. Take what you like and leave the rest. You may come to realize that you may not like me or what I have to share. Let's talk to each other, reason things out, but let there be no gossip or criticism of one another. Let the fellowship of ethical human behavior and the serenity from positive human interaction help you grow and chill out one experience at a time. I would like to thank my higher power for guiding me through this podcast. I hope to spread the message of love, hope, and understanding by touching one life at a time.